What'd you order? My usual cosmic chai flow. English. Oh, right. Oat milk, lavender, spirulina, with a drizzle of agave. All right, what'd you order? Coffee, and the way God intended it. Speaking of the way God intended it, have you finally come around to seeing Scripture's point of view and the order of things that God ordained in the very beginning? Order, we shall have order. You just love that word order. And when you're not harping on your complementarianism, you're making fun of my order. I mean, when you think about it, that's really what this whole debate about women in ministry rests on. Order. Husbands lead, wives submit. Same in the church. Order. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, about like Jabba's palace had order. Paul makes it clear in Ephesians 5, the husband is the head, the kephale, the leader. Despite the fact that kephale doesn't always mean chief. Sometimes it means source. Paul talks about Christ nourishing and feeding the church, not bossing it around. Oh, come on. Even if it means source, that still puts the man in charge. One leads, the other follows. It's right there. Right there, chained to Jabba's throne. Remember how that ended. Look, history proves my point. Century after century, the church had male leadership, male elders, never women. Because you're only looking through one lens of history. It's like saying only the rebel fighters fought the Empire. Forget the Ewoks. Despite the fact that history is full of Ewoks, women preachers, leaders, teachers, who may have seemed small and insignificant to some of us, but like the Ewoks, they turned the tide. Lucy Wright led the Shakers. Catherine Booth fought for women's right to preach in the 1800s. They've been blasting holes in your patriarchal Death Star centuries before feminism was even a thing. And you know who outdates Lucy Wright and Catherine Booth? The Apostle Paul. Women cannot teach or exercise authority over men. Paul appeals to creation. Adam was made first. Eve was deceived. That's not cultural. That's God's design. Can we get some context up in here? You keep swinging that verse around like it's your pretty little red lightsaber, but Paul was addressing false teachers in Ephesus who targeted women. It was situational. Ephesus had its own battle to fight. Don't lecture me on the New Testament letters being situational. I am well aware of that. Paul still grounds it in creation, Adam first, then Eve, end of story. How many times do I have to tell you creation order doesn't automatically translate to authority? I mean, animals came before Adam, for crying out loud. Congratulations, Chewbacca. You're now qualified for ordination. Laugh it up, fuzzball. Paul ties it back to Genesis. Eve was deceived. And Paul says in Romans 5 that sin came through Adam. What's your point? Eve may have been deceived. What does that say about Adam? He flat out rebelled. And then in Ephesians 5, young egalitarian, don't even bother quoting Ephesians 5:21 to me. Paul never commands the husband to submit to the wife. Not so fast. It's all one sentence in Greek. Verse 22 doesn't even have the word submit. It borrows it from verse 21. Paul says, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. Both are called to acts of self-giving. It's supposed to be mutual. Then why has the church held this historic view all this time? What about the household codes? Paul flipped the household codes upside down. Aristotle told husbands to rule. Paul tells husbands to die for their wives. That's not hierarchy. That's a revolution in Paul's world, and in yours apparently. You're clinging to power like the emperor, while the gospel is out there toppling empires. It's called divine order. It's called cultural accommodation. Slaves were told to submit too, and we don't defend slavery anymore. Why chain women when Christ has already set us free? But won't the church collapse if men aren't in charge? In Christ, there is neither Jew nor Greek, slave nor free, male and female. That's not just salvation,
That's leadership, that's ministry, that's the future.